Imagine waking up one day and feeling like you found a hidden treasure inside yourself. A treasure that can make your whole life better. That's what finding your inner self is like. It's not about doing hard things or changing who you are. It's about looking deep inside and discovering the real you. This treasure, your inner self, has always been there. It's just waiting for you to notice it. Think about how you feel right now. Do you sometimes feel lost or unsure about your life? Maybe you make choices but don't really know why. Or perhaps you look at your life and wonder if this is really what you want. If you feel this way, you're not alone. Many people go through life without really knowing their inner selves. But here's the exciting part. When you start to find your inner self, things begin to change. Finding your inner self is like making a new best friend. But this friend is you. This friend knows all about you. Your hopes, your fears, your dreams. When you get to know this inner you, you start to understand yourself better. You make choices that feel right for you. You feel more at peace, even when life gets tough. Now, you might be thinking, why should I care about finding my inner self? Well, let me ask you this. Have you ever felt like something was missing in your life, but you couldn't figure out what? That's often because you're not connected to your inner self. When you don't know your inner self, it's like trying to drive a car without knowing how to steer. You might move forward, but you're not sure if you're going in the right direction. Finding your inner self matters because it helps you live your life in a way that feels true to you. When you know your inner self, you make better choices. You know what makes you happy, what you're good at, and what you really want in life. It's like having a compass that always points you in the right direction. Think about the people you admire most. Maybe it's someone famous, or maybe it's someone you know personally. Chances are, these people know themselves well. They seem confident and at peace. That's because they've found their inner selves. They're not trying to be someone else or live someone else's life. They're being true to who they really are. When you find your inner self, it's like having a good friend who's always there to guide you. This friend, your inner self, knows what's best for you. It can help you when you're feeling unsure or scared. It can remind you of your strengths when you're feeling weak. And it can help you find joy and meaning in your life, even during tough times. But here's the thing. Finding your inner self isn't something that happens overnight. It's a journey. Sometimes it's easy, and sometimes it's hard. But it's always worth it. Because the more you get to know your inner self, the more you'll feel like you're living the life you were meant to live. So, what exactly is this inner self we're talking about? Your inner self is the real you, deep down inside. It's the part of you that knows what you truly want and need, even if you're not always aware of it. Your inner self is like the roots of a tree. You can't see the roots, but they're what keep the tree strong and help it grow. Everyone has an inner self, even if they don't know it yet. Your inner self has been with you since you were born. It's shaped by your experiences, your thoughts, and your feelings. But it's also something more. It's the essence of who you are, beyond all the roles you play in life. Think about all the different parts you play in your life. Maybe you're a student, a friend, a son or daughter, an employee. These are all important parts of who you are. But your inner self is what ties all these parts together. It's the you that stays the same, no matter what you're doing or who you're with. Your inner self is like a quiet voice inside you. Sometimes it's easy to hear this voice, and sometimes it's hard. When you're busy or stressed, you might not hear it at all. But it's always there, waiting for you to listen. This voice isn't about telling you what to do. It's more like a gentle guide, helping you understand yourself better. Getting to know your inner self is a bit like getting to know a new friend. At first, you might not know much about this friend, but as you spend time together, you start to understand them better. You learn what they like and don't like, what makes them happy or sad. It's the same with your inner self. As you pay attention to it, you start to understand yourself better. Your inner self knows things about you that you might not realize. It knows your true talents and strengths, even if you don't believe in them yet. It knows what really matters to you, even if you've never told anyone else. And it knows what kind of life would make you truly happy, even if that life looks different from what others expect of you. But here's an important thing to remember. Your inner self isn't perfect. It's not about being better than anyone else. Your inner self is simply you, with all your strengths and weaknesses. Getting to know your inner self means accepting all parts of yourself, even the parts you might not like very much. Sometimes, when people start to look for their inner selves, they get frustrated. They might think, I don't hear any inner voice, or I don't know what my inner self wants. If you feel this way, don't worry. Finding your inner self takes time and patience. It's not a race or a test. It's a journey of discovery that lasts your whole life. One way to start getting to know your inner self is to pay attention to your feelings. Your feelings are like messages from your inner self. When you feel happy, excited, or peaceful, your inner self is telling you that something is right for you. When you feel upset, angry, or scared, your inner self might be telling you that something isn't right. Learning to listen to these feelings can help you understand your inner self better. Another way to get to know your inner self is to notice what you really enjoy doing. What activities make you lose track of time? What could you talk about for hours without getting bored? These things are clues about what really matters to you. They're like little windows into your inner self. Your inner self also shows itself in your dreams and hopes for the future. What do you daydream about? If you could do anything you wanted, what would it be? These dreams and hopes are your inner self trying to guide you towards a life that would make you truly happy. Getting to know your inner self also means being honest with yourself. Sometimes we tell ourselves things that aren't really true because we're scared or we want to please others. But your inner self knows the truth. Learning to be honest with yourself, even when it's hard, is a big part of finding your inner self. As you get to know your inner self better, you might notice some changes in your life. You might start to feel more confident because you understand yourself better. You might find it easier to make decisions because you know what's really important to you. And you might feel more at peace even when life gets difficult because you're living in a way that's true to who you really are. Remember, finding your inner self isn't about becoming a different person. It's about becoming more fully yourself. It's about peeling away the layers of what others expect you to be, or what you think you should be, and discovering who you really are underneath. It's about learning to trust yourself and your own inner wisdom. Getting to know your inner self is one of the most important journeys you can take in life. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. Because when you know and trust your inner self, you can live your life with more purpose, more joy, and more meaning. You can become the person you were always meant to be. Now that we've talked about what your inner self is and why it's important, let's look at some signs that you might not be connected to your inner self. These signs are like red flags, telling you that it's time to start looking inside and getting to know yourself better. One big sign is feeling always busy but never satisfied. Does this sound familiar? You're always doing something, working, studying, hanging out with friends, but you never feel truly happy or content. You might finish one task and immediately start worrying about the next one. This constant busyness can be a way of avoiding your inner self. When you're always focused on doing, you don't have time for being, for just sitting with yourself and listening to your inner voice. Another sign is feeling like you're living someone else's life. Maybe you've chosen a career because your parents wanted you to, not because you really wanted it. Or maybe you're in a relationship that looks good on paper, but doesn't feel right in your heart. When you're not connected to your inner self, you might make choices based on what others expect, rather than what you truly want. Feeling lost or without direction is another common sign. Do you often wonder, what am I doing with my life? Or what's my purpose? These are big questions, and it's normal to not have all the answers. But if you feel completely lost, like you're just drifting through life without any sense of where you're going, it might be because you're not in touch with your inner self. Your inner self is like your personal compass. When you're connected to it, you have a sense of direction, even if you don't know exactly where you'll end up. Constant comparison with others can also mean you're not connected to your inner self. Do you often look at other people's lives and feel like you're falling behind? Do you worry that you're not as successful, as happy, or as put together as everyone else seems to be? This kind of comparison often comes from not knowing or valuing your own unique path. When you're connected to your inner self, you understand that your journey is your own. You don't need to measure yourself against others. Another sign is having a hard time making decisions. Do you often feel paralyzed when you have to make a choice? Do you spend a lot of time worrying about making the wrong decision? When you're not connected to your inner self, decision-making can feel really hard. You might not trust yourself to know what's best for you. You might worry too much about what others will think. But when you're in touch with your inner self, you have a clearer sense of what's right for you, which makes decisions easier. Feeling like you have to be perfect all the time is another sign you're not connected to your inner self. Do you put a lot of pressure on yourself to never make mistakes? Do you feel like you always have to look good, say the right thing, and be successful? This need for perfection often comes from not accepting yourself as you are. Your inner self knows that you're human, that you'll make mistakes, and that's okay. When you're connected to your inner self, you can be kinder to yourself and more accepting of your imperfections. A lack of self-care is another big sign. Are you always taking care of others, but never taking care of yourself? Do you feel guilty when you do something just for you? When you're not connected to your inner self, you might not value yourself enough to take good care of yourself. But your inner self knows that you deserve care and kindness, just like anyone else. Feeling numb or disconnected from your emotions can also mean you're not in touch with your inner self. Do you have a hard time knowing how you feel about things? Do you often feel like you're just going through the motions of life without really feeling anything? Your emotions are an important way that your inner self communicates with you. If you're cut off from your feelings, you're likely cut off from your inner self too. Another sign is constantly seeking approval from others. Do you often change your opinions or behavior to please others? Do you feel like you need everyone to like you? This need for approval often comes from not trusting or valuing your own thoughts and feelings. When you're connected to your inner self, you value your own opinion as much as, or more than, the opinions of others. Lastly, feeling like your life lacks meaning or purpose can be a sign you're not connected to your inner self. Do you often wonder why you're here? Or what the point of it all is? While these are big questions that many people grapple with, a persistent feeling that your life is meaningless often comes from being disconnected from your inner self. Your inner self knows what gives your life meaning, even if you're not consciously aware of it yet. If you recognize some of these signs in yourself, don't worry. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. It just means that now might be a good time to start getting to know your inner self better. Remember, everyone feels disconnected from themselves sometimes. The important thing is to recognize it and take steps to reconnect. Think about which of these signs resonate with you the most. Maybe you feel a lack of direction, or you're always busy but never satisfied. Or maybe you recognize a bit of yourself in several of these signs. Whatever you notice, try to approach it with curiosity rather than judgment. These signs aren't problems to be fixed. They're invitations to get to know yourself better. As you start to recognize these signs in your life, you might feel a mix of emotions. You might feel sad about the time you've spent disconnected from yourself. You might feel scared about what you'll discover as you start to look inside. Or you might feel excited about the possibility of getting to know yourself better. All of these feelings are normal and okay. Remember, noticing that you're disconnected from your inner self is actually a positive thing. It means you're becoming more aware, which is the first step towards change. Even if you feel very disconnected right now, your inner self is still there, waiting for you to turn your attention towards it. And as you start to reconnect, you might be surprised at how quickly things can start to shift. In the next part of our journey, we'll talk about some simple ways you can start to connect with your inner self. These are things anyone can do, no matter how disconnected they might feel right now. The path to finding your inner self is open to everyone, and it starts with a single step. So let's take that step together. Now that we've talked about why finding your inner self is important and some signs that you might be disconnected from it, let's explore some simple ways to start reconnecting. Remember, finding your inner self is a journey, not a destination. These are steps you can take every day to get to know yourself better. One of the easiest ways to start finding your inner self is to spend some quiet time alone each day. This doesn't have to be complicated or time-consuming. Just set aside a few minutes. Even 5 or 10 minutes is enough to start with. Find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed. It could be a corner of your bedroom, a spot in your backyard, or even your car parked in a peaceful place. During this quiet time, try to just be with yourself. You don't need to do anything special. Just sit comfortably and breathe. Notice your thoughts as they come and go, but don't try to change them or judge them. This quiet time is like opening a door to your inner self. At first, you might feel restless or bored. That's okay. With practice, you'll start to feel more comfortable just being with yourself. Another simple way to connect with your inner self is to start writing in a journal. Writing down your thoughts and feelings can help you understand yourself better. Don't worry about writing perfectly or making sense. Just let your thoughts flow onto the paper. You might be surprised at what comes out. Try writing about your day, your feelings, your dreams, or your worries. You can also write about things you're grateful for or things you want to change in your life. The act of putting your thoughts into words can help you see patterns in your thinking and behavior that you might not have noticed before. Spending time in nature is another great way to connect with your inner self. Nature has a way of calming our busy minds and helping us feel more connected to ourselves and the world around us. Try going for a walk in a park, sitting by a lake, or just standing under a tree. As you're in nature, really notice what's around you. Look at the colors of the leaves, listen to the sounds of birds or water, feel the breeze on your skin. Being in nature can help you feel more grounded and peaceful. It can remind you that you're part of something bigger than yourself. This feeling of connection can help you tap into your inner self more easily. Another simple practice is to pay attention to your body. Your body often knows things that your mind isn't aware of yet. Try doing a quick body scan several times a day. Start at your toes and move up to the top of your head, noticing how each part of your body feels. Are you holding tension somewhere? Do you feel energized or tired? Listening to your body can help you understand your feelings and needs better. For example, tension in your shoulders might mean you're stressed, even if you haven't consciously acknowledged it. Feeling heavy or tired might mean you need more rest. Your body is always communicating with you. Learning to listen to it is a big part of finding your inner self. Creativity can also be a powerful way to connect with your inner self. You don't need to be an artist to be creative. Try drawing, painting, coloring, dancing, or making music, whatever appeals to you. Don't worry about being good at it. The point is to express yourself freely, without judgment. When you create something, you're expressing a part of your inner self. You might be surprised at what comes out when you let yourself create freely. Maybe you'll choose colors that reflect your mood, or draw shapes that represent your feelings. Creative activities can help you express things that are hard to put into words. Lastly, try to do one thing each day just because it makes you happy. It doesn't have to be big. Maybe it's reading a chapter of a book you love, listening to your favorite song, or taking a few extra minutes to enjoy your morning coffee. Doing things simply because they bring you joy is a way of honoring your inner self and what it wants. As you start trying these simple practices, be patient with yourself. Some days, you might feel very connected to your inner self. Other days, it might feel harder. That's normal. The important thing is to keep showing up for yourself day after day. Over time, you'll start to notice changes. You might feel calmer, more centered, or more in tune with yourself. You might start to hear your inner voice more clearly. Remember, finding your inner self isn't about adding something new to your life. It's about peeling away the layers of busyness, stress, and outside expectations to reveal the true you that's been there all along. These simple practices are like gentle ways of removing those layers, little by little. As you start to spend more time with yourself and pay attention to your thoughts and feelings, you might find that questions start to come up. This is good. Asking yourself questions is a powerful way to get to know your inner self better. It's like having a conversation with yourself, where you're both the one asking and the one answering. Asking yourself questions can help you understand your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors better. It can help you figure out what you really want and what's important to you. And it can help you see things from new perspectives. Start with simple questions. What made me happy today? Or what am I grateful for right now? These questions can help you focus on the positive things in your life and understand what brings you joy. Try asking yourself these questions at the end of each day. You might be surprised at the small moments of happiness you notice when you start looking for them. As you get more comfortable asking yourself questions, you can start to dig a little deeper. What do I really want in life? Is a big question, but it's an important one. Don't worry if you don't have a clear answer right away. Just thinking about this question can help you start to understand your true desires and goals. Another powerful question is, what am I afraid of? Fear often holds us back from being our true selves. By asking yourself what you're afraid of, you can start to understand your fears better. Maybe you're afraid of failure or of what others think of you. Once you recognize your fears, you can start to work on overcoming them. What makes me feel alive is another great question to ask yourself. Think about times when you felt really excited, energized, or in the flow. What were you doing? Who were you with? Understanding what makes you feel truly alive can help you make choices that bring more of those feelings into your life. Try asking yourself, what would I do if I knew I couldn't fail? This question can help you tap into your dreams and aspirations without the fear of failure holding you back. Your answer might surprise you and reveal desires you haven't let yourself acknowledge before. What am I holding on to that I need to let go of? Is a question that can help you identify things in your life that no longer serve you. These might be old beliefs, past hurts, or habits that are holding you back. Recognizing these things is the first step towards letting them go. Remember, when you're asking yourself these questions, try to be honest with yourself. It's okay if the answers are different from what you think they should be. The goal is to understand yourself better, not to come up with the right answers. Also, don't rush to answer these questions. Give yourself time to really think about them. You might want to write your answers in your journal, or just let them simmer in your mind for a while. Sometimes, the answers will come to you when you least expect it, while you're taking a shower, or going for a walk, or just as you're falling asleep. As you practice asking yourself questions, you might notice that your inner voice, the voice of your inner self, starts to get clearer. You might start to trust your own thoughts and feelings more. And you might start to make choices that feel more true to who you really are. We've talked about asking yourself questions, but now let's focus on something equally important, listening to the answers. This is where you start to hear your inner voice more clearly. Your inner voice is that quiet part of you that knows what's true for you, even when your mind is busy with doubts or worries. Your inner voice isn't like the other voices in your head. It's not the voice that criticizes you or tells you what you should do. Your inner voice is calmer and quieter. It's the voice of your true self, your intuition, your inner wisdom. At first, you might have trouble hearing your inner voice. Our minds are often so full of noise, worries about the future, regrets about the past, to-do lists, other people's opinions, that it can be hard to hear that quiet inner voice. But with practice, you can learn to listen to it more clearly. One way to start hearing your inner voice better is to create moments of quiet in your day. This goes back to the quiet time we talked about earlier. When you sit in silence, even for a few minutes, you give your inner voice a chance to be heard. At first, your mind might be very busy. That's okay. Just keep sitting quietly. Over time, you'll start to notice moments of calm between your thoughts. That's where your inner voice often speaks. Another way to hear your inner voice is to pay attention to your feelings, especially the subtle ones. Your inner voice often communicates through feelings rather than words. You might get a sense of excitement or a feeling of peace when something is right for you. Or you might feel a sense of heaviness or unease when something isn't right. Learning to notice and trust these feelings is a big part of listening to your inner voice. It can also help to turn off distractions. We live in a world full of noise, from our phones, TVs, computers, and the people around us. All this outside noise can drown out your inner voice. Try to create times in your day when you turn off all these distractions. Maybe it's during your commute, or while you're doing chores, or before you go to bed. Use these quiet times to check in with yourself and listen to your inner voice. Remember, your inner voice doesn't always tell you what you want to hear. Sometimes it might tell you that you need to make a change in your life, or that you're on the wrong path. This can be scary, but learning to listen to your inner voice, even when it's saying difficult things, is part of getting to know your true self. Listening to your inner voice takes practice. Some days, you might hear it clearly. Other days, it might seem very faint. That's normal. The important thing is to keep listening, keep creating those quiet moments, and keep tuning into your feelings. As you get better at listening to your inner voice, you might notice some changes in your life. You might feel more confident in your decisions because you're trusting your own inner wisdom. You might feel more peaceful, even in difficult situations, because you're connected to your inner strength. And you might find that you're making choices that feel more true to who you really are. Remember, your inner voice is always there, even if you can't hear it clearly yet. It's patient. It will wait for you to listen. And the more you listen, the clearer it will become. Your inner voice is your guide on this journey of finding your inner self. Trust it, listen to it, and let it lead you towards a life that feels truly yours. As you start to listen to your inner voice and get to know your inner self better, you might notice some negative thoughts coming up. This is normal. Everyone has negative thoughts sometimes. But when these thoughts get too loud, they can drown out your inner voice and make it hard to connect with your true self. Negative thoughts often sound very convincing. They might tell you that you're not good enough, that you'll never succeed, or that something bad is going to happen. These thoughts can make you feel scared, sad, or angry. They can stop you from doing things you want to do or being the person you want to be. The first step in dealing with negative thoughts is to recognize them. Start paying attention to your thoughts. When you notice a negative thought, try to pause and look at it. Ask yourself, is this thought really true? Or is it just a fear or worry? One way to handle negative thoughts is to imagine them floating away. Picture your negative thought as a balloon. See it in your mind, with the negative thought written on it. Now, imagine letting go of the balloon and watching it float away into the sky. This can help you remember that thoughts are just thoughts. They're not facts, and they don't have to control you. Another helpful trick is to give your negative thoughts a silly voice. Imagine them being said in a funny cartoon voice or sung to the tune of a silly song. This can help take away some of their power and remind you not to take them too seriously. It's also important to remember that having negative thoughts doesn't make you a negative person. Your thoughts are not who you are. Your inner self, your true self, is separate from these thoughts. Even when you're having lots of negative thoughts, your inner self is still there, calm and wise. Sometimes, negative thoughts come from trying to be perfect all the time. Remember, your inner self doesn't expect you to be perfect. It accepts you just as you are, with all your strengths and weaknesses. Try to be kind to yourself, even when you make mistakes or things don't go as planned. If negative thoughts are really bothering you, it can help to talk to someone you trust. This could be a friend, a family member, or a professional like a counselor. Sharing your thoughts with someone else can often make them feel less scary or overwhelming. Remember, dealing with negative thoughts is a skill that takes practice. Some days will be easier than others. The goal isn't to never have negative thoughts. That's not possible. The goal is to learn to recognize them, not believe everything they say, and not let them stop you from being your true self. Now that we've talked about dealing with negative thoughts, let's focus on something more positive, making friends with your inner self. This might sound a bit strange at first. How can you be friends with yourself? But think about it. You're the one person you'll spend your entire life with. Learning to be a good friend to yourself is one of the most important things you can do. Making friends with your inner self starts with getting to know yourself better. Just like when you make a new friend, you spend time together, talk, and learn about each other. It's the same with your inner self. Spend time with yourself. Pay attention to what you like and don't like, what makes you happy or sad, what you dream about. Try to treat yourself the way you treat a good friend. Would you constantly criticize a friend? Or would you be kind and supportive? Would you ignore a friend's feelings? Or would you listen and try to understand? Start treating yourself with the same kindness and respect you'd give to a good friend. One way to be a good friend to yourself is to celebrate your strengths and successes, even the small ones. Did you try something new today? Did you handle a difficult situation well? Take a moment to recognize and appreciate these things. Your inner self thrives on this kind of positive reinforcement. At the same time, learn to be gentle with yourself when things don't go well. Just like you'd comfort a friend who's having a hard time, learn to comfort yourself. Maybe you made a mistake or things didn't work out the way you hoped. Instead of beating yourself up, try to be understanding. Remind yourself that everyone makes mistakes and has bad days sometimes. Another important part of being friends with your inner self is learning to trust yourself. Your inner self knows what's best for you, even if you're not always sure. Start paying attention to your instincts and feelings. When you have a strong feeling about something, whether it's positive or negative, take it seriously. Your inner self might be trying to tell you something important. Making friends with your inner self also means taking care of yourself. This includes taking care of your body by eating well, getting enough sleep, and exercising. But it also means taking care of your emotions and your spirit. Do things that make you feel good and bring you joy. Spend time with people who support and uplift you. Give yourself time to rest and relax. Remember, being friends with your inner self is an ongoing process. Some days, you'll feel really connected and in tune with yourself. Other days, you might feel disconnected or frustrated. That's okay. Real friendships have ups and downs too. The important thing is to keep showing up, keep listening, and keep being kind to yourself. As you become better friends with your inner self, you might notice some changes. You might feel more confident and sure of yourself. You might find it easier to make decisions that feel right for you. You might feel more peace and contentment in your daily life. These are all signs that you're getting to know and trust your inner self more. We've covered a lot in this journey of finding your inner self. We've talked about what your inner self is and why it's important to connect with it. We've looked at signs that you might be disconnected from your inner self and explored simple ways to start reconnecting. We've discussed the power of asking yourself questions and listening to your inner voice. We've addressed how to deal with negative thoughts and how to make friends with your inner self. Remember, finding your inner self is not a destination. It's a lifelong journey. It's about getting to know yourself better, trusting yourself more, and living in a way that feels true to who you really are. This journey isn't always easy. There will be challenges along the way. You might face fears or doubts. You might have to make difficult choices or changes in your life. But here's the wonderful thing. You're not alone on this journey. Your inner self is always with you, ready to guide and support you. As you get better at listening to your inner voice and trusting your instincts, you'll find that you have an incredible source of wisdom and strength within you. Don't be discouraged if you don't see big changes right away. Finding your inner self is often about small, everyday moments. It's about pausing to check in with yourself before making a decision. It's about noticing when something feels right or wrong. It's about being a little kinder to yourself each day. Start small. Maybe today, you can take 5 minutes of quiet time to sit with yourself. Maybe you can ask yourself one important question and really listen to the answer. Maybe you can do one thing that brings you joy, just because it makes you happy. These small steps add up over time. Remember, there's no right way to find your inner self. Your journey will be unique to you. Trust the process. Trust yourself. You have everything you need within you to live a life that feels true and meaningful to you. As you continue on this journey of finding your inner self, be patient with yourself. Be kind to yourself. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small it might seem. And always remember, you are worthy of love, respect, and understanding, especially from yourself. Your inner self has been with you all along, waiting for you to turn your attention towards it. Now that you've started this journey, keep going, keep listening, keep exploring, keep being curious about who you really are. The more you get to know your inner self, the more you'll discover just how amazing you truly are. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of finding your inner self. I hope you feel inspired and empowered to continue this journey. Remember, every step you take towards knowing yourself better is a step towards living a more authentic, fulfilling life. You've got this. Finding your inner self is a journey of self-discovery that can transform your life in profound ways. It's about peeling back the layers of expectations, fears, and doubts to uncover the true essence of who you are. This journey isn't always easy, but it's incredibly rewarding. As we've explored in this video, connecting with your inner self starts with simple practices like taking quiet time for yourself, journaling, and spending time in nature. It involves asking yourself important questions and learning to listen to your inner voice. It means dealing with negative thoughts and making friends with yourself. Remember, your inner self is your guide, your compass in life. It knows what's truly best for you, even when your mind is clouded with doubts or fears. As you get better at connecting with your inner self, You'll likely find that you make decisions more easily, feel more confident, and experience a greater sense of peace and purpose in your life. But perhaps most importantly, finding your inner self allows you to live authentically. It helps you align your outer life with your inner truth, leading to a sense of harmony and fulfillment that comes from being true to who you really are. This journey of self-discovery is ongoing. There will always be more to learn about yourself, more ways to grow and evolve. Embrace this journey with curiosity and kindness. Be patient with yourself, celebrate your progress, and trust the process. Remember, you have everything you need within you to live a life that feels true and meaningful. Your inner self is always there, ready to guide you. Trust it, listen to it, and let it lead you towards a life that resonates with your deepest truths. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of finding your inner self. I hope you feel inspired and equipped to continue this journey of self-discovery. Remember, every step you take towards knowing yourself better is a step towards living your most authentic, fulfilling life. You've got this.